Oh, hey everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey everybody. We're setting up. We're still waiting for our judge. It's okay. He can take his time. Guys, I have to like give the biggest apologies because I forgot to shout you guys out um at the last stream. I had like 40 shout outs to do and I'm looking for them because I don't not like not shouting people out when they need to be shouted out, especially when they're giving me gems and jewels and super chats. So I do apologize for doing that. I got out of the stream way too quick. So I'm looking for it, and I'm hoping to see if I can get back to the stream that we did earlier, but that was like 5 hours, so that might be a little bit difficult to do. I don't know why. I should be able to go back, but okay, hold on. Anyways, so side note, we're waiting, y'all. We're waiting a little bit until Abraham gets here. So how many of you guys in the chat? We're waiting for Abraham, but how many of you guys in the chat remember? Have been with me since the beginning of this channel, or at least earlier on. There was a case that I covered like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was the case of Kalen Walker. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember Kalen Walker. He was the dude from Superfly. And okay, I think I can get in there. Oh yes, I'll be able to shout out. You remember Pika? You remember Superfly? Y'all remember that? Okay, so Kalen Walker, he was in a movie with Halle Berry. He was in Superfly. He was in a bunch of movies, up and coming actor. Oh man. And all this other stuff. Oh, but I'm here real quick. I tell you guys a story. So Kalen Walker, there was a series of R-ings in the LA area, okay, between 2016 and 2018. And essentially it was found out it was a bunch of minors that were being R'd, a bunch of women that were being reached out to via Instagram. He presented himself to be a photographer. Okay, I would say he was like a Z-list celebrity somewhat, okay? Even though he did a movie with Halle Berry and whatnot, and he was in Superfly, right? Well, he COVID hit, and so he went to jail. He was charged with a lot of R-ing charges, especially with minors. Then COVID hit, and then California went through this phase where they were releasing a lot of the people in jail because of the COVID, right? We didn't really know, especially early on. Well, while he was out, his bond was lowered. He was out. More ish hit the fan. That's when I started out. As a blogger, and that was like one of the first like true crime stories that I covered. Well, eventually he was sentenced to 50 years for multiple R-ings, and what he would do is he was sharing CSAM to basically say that it was consensual, but he wasn't telling the bloggers that it was CSAM. Like, he was telling people that this was like a consenting adult, so he was passing around this tape, this tape. Yeah, his name is Kalen Walker. I'll show you guys a picture. I bet if I show you who he is, you're gonna remember him. Well, anyways, so he was sentenced to 50 years, and suddenly today I get a hit on all my Kalen Walker videos. Hold up, I'll show you all what I'm talking about. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, and I start noticing that he's doing interviews from prison. And he's giving this like conspiracy theory story as to why he was convicted, even though they found DNA, even though it was a bunch of minors. This is him. And he was like up and coming. I don't know if y'all have ever seen him in movies. Let me see. I'll type in Superfly. Very, very great talker, smooth talker, fast talker, but full of bullshit. Like when you start really seeing, what he was doing. Like he's a really great talker. You could probably sell you a Pinto and say it's a Lamborghini. Yeah, so he got married, right? And his wife posted on like Threads or something about, congratulations, honey, thank you, because he did an interview, right? Well, she's getting a lot of backlash, and they're saying, well, now you're supporting an artist. And they've been trying to make him like the next kind of Tory Lanez and stuff, like, convicted, and it was wrongful, but it's too many young minors. Literally, I mean, everybody's dragging the lady on Threads, and they've been trying to rewrite the narrative. I mean, you have Onsite that says wife is facing intense backlash online after publicly celebrating him ahead of ahead of what she calls his first interview since incarceration. Walker, an actor and rapper known for his role in the film Superfly, was convicted in 2022 on multiple counts of R-ing involving 3 teenage girls and 4 women and sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. Her post has racked up thousands of comments, with many of them criticizing her decision to stand with him publicly. Well, she married the man. She was out here, you know, batting and doing the most with him, and she married him. You know, it is what it is. Everybody can choose who they want, you know? Nobody's perfect, but I mean, anyways, that being said, though, they try to rewrite the narrative about what happened in that case. And yeah, so it's interesting. I see a lot of people are in my comments, and I'm like, well, I don't know how you got here, but shout out to you. And so we're probably going to be requesting those court documents, because I don't like the rewriting of the history. And I think that that's what's happening too. There's no conspiracy there. I follow that case to the T. So anyways, that being said, though, that's my story. The end. Yeah, they've been commenting, like, all my videos from like 4 or 5 years ago from this. They're coming back up. People are watching them. I said, why is this coming up again? Oh, and by the way, I interviewed a juror. I'll never forget when the juror told me that he was telling these minors, these women, that he knew Drake and he can get them a job with Drake. Like, he was name dropping, y'all. All of this is in evidence. Okay. So he can come out here and write a new narrative behind, you know, prison. That's fine. But that was interesting too. I interviewed a juror that sat in the whole trial. Okay. Let me shout out some people and then we're going to get started. Sorry, y'all. I kind of, you know, I wanted to give you time to eat, Abraham. I didn't know you were going to hurry up.
No, good. I'm eating, but I'm also reviewing because, girl, this is a whooping.
Well, let me tell you, I said I cheated, y'all. I cheated because I was telling them that I cheated because I was reading a little bit. I said, oh, the beginning of this is pretty.
Yeah,
kind of makes me wish you were a fly on the wall there.
It's pretty lengthy, so we're gonna need somebody to play Miss Walters and another one, Mr. Bailiff.
All right, we're gonna do it. But anyways, let me do some shout outs before we get started, because I forgot to shout people out in the last video. So real quick, I'm sorry, everybody. I just want to make sure you guys get your shout outs. I forgot to do it earlier. Tiffany, thank you so much for the diamonds. Nebby, thank you. Cruz, thank you for the jewels. Miss Sid, thank you so much for the jewels. Nebby, thank you. Tina, thank you so much for the floating hearts. Summer of 88, thank you so much for your 9-month membership. Shout out to you. Lunch for you. Thanks for doing this. Thank you so much. Yeah, shout out to everybody that, you know, gave to the Cash App. I need to put your guys' Cash Apps in the I forgot to put it in the chat, so we need to do that. James says, here's James' joke of the day. Rabbit, one day I changed a light bulb, crossed the road, and walked into a bar. Then I realized my whole life was a joke. Do you get it? Everybody gets it? Let me know. MJ, thank you so much for the sparkles. The Art of Personal Story, thank you for the gold coins. The Art of Personal Story, thank you for the floating hearts. Tara, thank you so much. Thank you, Tara, for the floating hearts. Mags, thank you so much for the 2 jewels. And then another James jokes. He said, what do you get if you cross a skunk, a nun, and a balloon? A creature that stinks to a high heaven. Okay, that one was funny. Oh my gosh, that was funny. All right. Hair by Mary, thank you so much for the jewels. Jess, thank you so much for the $9.99 for a happy meal for baby bunny. Well, let me not say that out loud. She already had one. Thank you. 5 Divine, thank you so much for the jewels. Cher Bear, thank you for the jewels. Angel, thank you for the jewels. Nebby, thank you. Tisha, thank you. Shasa, thank you. T Brown, thank you. Nebby, thank you. Jeanette, thank you so much for the GG keys. Nebby, thank you for the flowers. Melissa, thank you for the flowers. Andressa, thank you for the gold coins. Andressa, thank you again. Andressa, thank you. Miss Kim, thank you so much. Shout out to Kim. Finger heart, thank you. Sylvia, thank you for the 6-7. I better be careful when I say that, because Baby Bunny likes to repeat that. Eagle, thank you. Sylvia, thank you, Sylvia, for the eagle. Thank you, Sylvia, for the tube dancer. Sylvia, thank you for the husky. Sylvia, thank you for the mystery gift. Pika, thank you for the floating heart. Happy Poop, thank you, Shaza. Dodger, thank you for the flower. Molly, thank you. Pika, thank you for the thumbs up. And Nebby, thank you for the flowers. And MJ, thank you for the silver stars. All right, I got through all of them. All right, now, one last thing I need to do is put the Cash App in the screen for the people up here. Give me 1 second, guys. Almost done. I promise. And then we're gonna get started, because y'all, this side of the transcript, it's That was the drama that happened that we missed because we weren't there. But it gets pretty juicy, okay? So we ready for this? 1 second. Let me put these cash apps up. 1 sec. Somebody talk.
I guess that means us. How's everybody doing?
What was that?
Here we
She said
are.
somebody
Here we
talk.
are.
She's got something to do right now. She's
Oh
doing.
my
So how's
God.
everybody doing in the
Marissa.
chat? Let's see what everybody's up to. Yeah, we just gotta make up shit for
Yeah.
a minute or two.
I will say this because we are going to start with the drama of
Oh my
that morning in the
God.
courtroom. I do believe this is how I got my seat in court, though, that morning. Because they both had to leave. Two people had to leave. And then I was able to have a seat. So
I'm reading all of this because it's like 5, 7, 8 pages.
And answering your
It's
question in the chat,
serious.
yes, there is an app for Cash App. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Oh
I was just
my
saying
God.
it was serious. Well,
It's a
not
lot.
Steve's thing, but the other issue with the transmitting.
Yeah, that.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just like reading it over and over again so I don't stumble.
I know we need
especially
Steve
'cause
for this part.
We had we hear the admonishment that the family lawyer got in the previous
Yeah.
transcript, right? That was thorough. That
Oh,
was thorough.
But what was that? I don't. What was that admonishment for? Because was he transmitting?
He had his laptop out in the front. He's not supposed to have his laptop out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You're talking
If
about
you
the
have
lawyer?
a laptop, if you have only specific people are allowed to have laptops. That's what I understood. Only specific
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So like
only press.
media and press, but he's not press, even though he's a lawyer. Like that's why I understood it. The judge understood. Yes, you're a lawyer. I get it. However, this is my rule, and it's in rule here, and that's how they do it. So doesn't matter if he's a lawyer. He's not party to the case. There's no reason for him to have a laptop.
I thought the lawyers could have it. That's why I was like, wait, why is she admonishing him?
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. It's just members of the media and then approved personnel, people that she approves.
Yeah. And
Yes.
not just because he sits in the front row behind prosecution, the lawyer with the family and the other people who are in the DA on that side. But he's not, an active participating lawyer in this. He's just there listening in the gallery. But everybody else in the back, those last 2 rows, you need to have either your media press badge, which is given out by the sheriff's department because you have to get approvals and credentials, or if you had a media badge that was given to you for the day because you were backup. Like I was able to get one, but I still hand wrote everything. But what happened after this incident this morning is that no longer could backup media, which was mostly independent journalists, use their laptops after this morning. They said you needed to have they added to the wording beforehand that you needed to have that press badge to use your laptop. So
Yep. That's how they did it. All right. So I promise, can somebody remind me to do the shout outs before I leave? Hey, do the shout outs. Okay. And really the reason we're not going to finish this whole day today. Like right now, we just can't. We're going to get as much as we can. So then tomorrow we're able to get into the rest. But I mean, I'm glad we're doing this because even processing what we learned about the 22nd, day 2 was interesting too. Like there's a lot of stuff I didn't know that was going on. So I went to watch Trap Moore's video, and he's saying that how the family, the whole authorization for flight is being misinterpreted by a lot of people here online. So I can't wait till we get that. So I'm curious for that too. I want to know, how is it being misinterpreted? He's saying that it's not. I don't know if you guys watch Ross's video, but I was like, really? I'm not getting ahead of myself.
I watched it. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to know how he feels like a lot of people are misinterpreting. So I'm curious to know. All right. So let's start. Where do we start? Was it page 5? It was page 5.
Yeah. No, it's page 5. Is it?
Okay.
Yeah, page 5. Okay.
All right. So we already made our appearances. Okay. Do you want to start with line 14, court?
14, yeah. Okay. So we are on the record in People versus Burke, case number, then the case number. We have Mr. Burke present. Can all counsel please make their appearances?
Sorry, it's me. It's me. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman for the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Marilyn Bernarski and Blair Burke on behalf of Mr. David Burke, who is present.
All right, thank you. And we also have the two investigating officers also at the council table. Ms. Silverman. Ms. Silverman did indicate there's something that she wants to put on the record. There's also something the court wishes to address before we resume the preliminary hearing. Ms. Silverman, I will let you go first.
Actually, I will defer to you. So go ahead. I don't want to repeat something you're going to say.
Gee, thanks. No. All right, thank you. It has come to my attention that at 3:51 p.m. yesterday, an email was received by our media affairs office that there was live transmitting coming from the courtroom and that the vehicle used to transmit from the courtroom was an individual who was using Google Docs in a shared file and typing away, and that someone else not in this courtroom and perhaps not even in the state could access that share file and then transmit real time what was going on in this courtroom. I am a bit surprised by this conduct. I want to put on the record that Deputy Fawn, the bailiff in this courtroom, has said at every break, every morning, every afternoon, that there is no live transmitting from this courtroom in any fashion. And just because he couldn't think of every single possible way to convey that, that doesn't mean that if it wasn't said, that some form of live transmitting would be acceptable. I find it disingenuous that someone would say that media was allowed to transmit live from this courtroom because Deputy Fawn's message have never indicated that media could transmit live from this courtroom. And I believe most of the media here has understood that they cannot transmit live from this courtroom. I also find it just as incomprehensible in light of the fact that I addressed Mr. Steinfeld, who is the Marcy's law attorney, in front of everyone and read the court's rule that there is no transmitting and recording from this courtroom. And that applied equally to the Marcy's law attorney and indicated the reasons why there should that there should be no illegal or unauthorized recording from this courtroom. So I will read it again, and I am going to ask the court media person to put it on the record about the email they received. I'm going to ask the bailiff to put on the record his statement that are made at every break, morning, afternoon, and at our recesses, and then I will address the person individually. So it is clear, Rule 1.15 of the California Rule of Court states recordings, and this is the definition of recording means any use of any analog or digital device to orally or visually preserve court proceedings. Subsection C says, except as provided in this rule, court proceedings may not be photographed or recorded or broadcast. Subject D says, the judge may permit inconspicuous personal recording devices, but the person must obtain advance permission from the judge. And subsequent E says, media coverage may be permitted only on written orders of the judge as provided in this subdivision. So it is clear in the rules of court, and I have expressed some of that to Mr. Steinfeld. So anyone who was in this courtroom yesterday and covering this should have known and be on notice, not just of what the bailiff said, but that there is actually that is actually in the rules of court. The majority of the people who have been annoyed or questioned the court's ruling concerning how computers are used, I hope this highlights that no matter what the court does, there are people who think the rule don't either apply to them or that there's some way to get around them. And unfortunately, that ruins it for everyone else who does follow the rules, notwithstanding their feeling of the rules. Deputy Fawn, can you please put on the record what you say to convey to everyone in the audience, media alike, as well as the public, about the transmission from this courtroom?
Okay, hold up 1 minute. Flo Joe, do you want to come up? Let me know, because you could be the deputy. I just want to make sure it doesn't knock us at 4 or 5 people. He shot the sheriff, but he didn't shoot the deputy. Let me know, Flo Joe. Hold up. Shout out to Flo Joe TV. Give me one
Loving
second.
that karaoke voice.
I shot the wait until I'm drunk. Then you'll love the mariachi voice.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to sing. Court order.
Court order. Hold up. Let me see. I'm gonna send the I don't know if FloJo wants to come up. Completely up to FloJo. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Someone
Well,
asked if Annie
I'll-
was there, or did she have someone there for her? She
This
was
is-
not there.
this is who they're
This is-
addressing.
yeah, this is her. The person on her team was there. Annie was in another state.
Yeah. And also, I think that Annie normally does pre-recorded coverage of the episodes that she does, whatever she does. I think the very first time that Annie had somebody and that she was in the courtroom was for the Karen retrial. So I understand that she didn't know.
Mhm.
But as the judge just said, there's signs at the door. Oh, I'm going to say it in a minute. Hold on. The bailiff says it every morning at every recess. Every time this is said, so the girl there should have known.
Annie addressed it. So I did read a little bit into just skimmed it, and I said, "Girl." So I didn't know. Okay. Hold up. Is Flojo, is he going to come up or not? Because we can move forward if he doesn't.
well,
Flojo
I'll
for
read
deputy.
the deputy.
You read the deputy. Hold up. Let me
Did
see.
he
Is I just
respond?
want- I don't know. Did he? Is he in
He's
the
down.
chat? I thought he was.
Yeah, he's in the chat. He was there a moment ago.
Ooh,
Okay.
Khadijah should come up and read. What's her name?
Khadi-
Valerie?
Oh yeah, let her come up. That'll be fun.
Khadijah can read Valerie.
Well, I'll read the
We have to
deputy.
get through this document, though. Y'all, we got to get through this document.
I'll do it for now. So
Okay,
go
from
ahead.
the deputy.
All
Yes,
right.
Your Honor, at the start of every session that includes both in the morning, the afternoon, as well as breaks in the middle of session, I advise everyone in the audience before we get started that there's no live digital broadcasting of any kind allowed in the courtroom.
I will also note, as I did for Mr. Steinfeld, that there's a general order that the presiding judge of Los Angeles Superior Court states that there is no recording or transmission or broadcasting from the courtroom, and that it is taped to the wall of this courtroom and it is taped to the doors of this courtroom. So in addition to the rules of court, there's a general order by the presiding judge of the Los Angeles Superior Court. Ms. Martinez is from our media affairs office. Can you please indicate the email that was received at 3:51 p.m. yesterday?
You want me to read Martinez?
You save it for Joe.
Oh,
Is
you
he
said
here?
Joe. Is he? He's not
No.
here yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, or
you
Kadisha.
can-
Kadisha says, "Do not want me reading with my dyslexia. This is so long." All right, we
I-
got to get it going, y'all. All right,
All
let
right.
me keep going.
Yeah.
I'll
I
read
said,
it. Yeah, for Ms.
go ahead.
Martinez, line 7. Yes, the email was received by an anonymous person giving the court heads up. There's a live transmission of information being released via shared document. One of the daily journalists, they didn't mention who the person works for, and they were using Google Docs to type whatever was going on in the court, and the other person was receiving and going live on it.
All right. So before I address this person, Ms. Silverman, did you want to put anything on the record?
I do, but I'm going to let you finish.
I
I remember Steve telling us this. Go ahead.
Well, again, I am going to address the person now directly. All right. So, Ms. Martinez, can you tell me who this person is?
Where's Ms. Martinez indicating?
Indicating.
Okay, so she's pointing.
Okay. All right.
It was her.
It was her.
So she's doing that
Guilty
thing
as
like you point.
charged.
Yeah, she's doing that thing where you point under your arm, like you don't want anyone else to see it.
I know, right? She's put her palm up and the
Yeah.
finger the
That's
other way.
horrible.
All right, ma'am, can you please put your name on the record? Can you stand up right there?
I guess I'll be Jessica Walter, right?
Okay, go for
Jessica Walter.
What about, okay, hold on a minute. Let me start.
Dang, we just put her name out there. She's the one that's under Annie Elise.
Well, should we have redacted that?
Damn.
Okay.
No, girl.
So redacted.
I mean,
everybody knows.
Pretend it's redacted, folks.
Okay, redacted. Okay, ma'am, what about the court's order, the court's proceedings, the bailiff's order, and the written order that's posted all over this courtroom is unclear that you think sharing docs to allow live transmission to someone else not in this proceedings is okay?
I fully understood the court's order and I fully understand the rules. And I promise you that I believe the document I was using and have always used was only accessible to me. But I do take responsibility for this and anyone this has affected. And I do apologize, Your Honor. But stop. This is
Freeze.
BS because I remember watching that video and you know, Danny did say, I have a person in there and we're sharing a doc. I'm like, no, girl.
And if your profile
is what-
picture is in your Google whatever or whatever emoji you use as your picture is in every document at the top right hand corner. It tells you who has access to it.
Mhm.
Right. That's what I'm like, okay. Anyways, go ahead, Court. Sorry.
Okay. At this time, I think my orders are really clear. And wait, is that it?
She says, all right, Miss Silverman.
Hold
No,
on,
no.
my thing just
So I said, I
went
do
down.
apologize, Your Honor. I think this is when the bailiff escorts her out. Because remember, I guess she didn't stay for the hearing. And this is when Marissa was able to take her seat. Go, Marissa. Yep.
Okay. All right, Miss Silverman. Did you wish to say anything?
No.
Okay. At this time, I think my orders are really clear, and I think you clearly violated both the spirit of the court's order as well as the specifics of the court's orders. I am going to exclude you from today's proceedings. Normally, I would consider excluding you from the rest of these proceedings and perhaps the rest of this case. I am not going to do that. Just for today, though. You can come back tomorrow, but you will not be allowed wherever you're sitting, whether you're in the media row or the public row, you will not be allowed to have a computer. Your phone will be in the yonders bag and there will be no recording devices whatsoever. Okay.
Understood.
You can use paper and pen, but today you're excluded.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, you can let somebody from the standby list in. In walks Marissa.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Court.
Mr. Steinfeld, I hope. Okay, so hold on.
You're
Mr.
fine.
Steinfeld, I hope you realize that my rules were not meant in any way to infringe upon your ability to do what you do, but to ensure the integrity of our proceedings. Mr. Steinfeld reads that.
Okay, go ahead. Defense, you want to read Steinfeld for now?
Yeah. I respect the court's ruling, Your Honor.
I hope everyone else here does too. Now that that's concluded, did you wish to make any further record, Ms. Silverman?
Yes. Two things. One, yesterday, while I was standing at the podium questioning witnesses, I heard a female in the back. I don't see her in court, so I don't think she was let in. And she was talking throughout the day, and I heard it from numerous people making comments about me, things that I was saying, things I was asking. I just ignored it because I tend to not to be very distracted. I tend to be pretty focused. Today, when I approached the court, she made a comment, and I didn't know who she was until she made a comment to me as I was entering the courtroom this morning. And I said, excuse me, I didn't hear what you said. And she said to me something along the lines of, did you say something yesterday in court? And I said, yes, all day. I'm the one of the lawyers on this case. That's my job. Then she proceeded to make some other remarks to me, and eventually I walked away. But I want the court to be aware. I don't know that I'll remember her face by tomorrow, but I wanted to let the court know that she was distracting yesterday. And then she approached me today, which I find wholly inappropriate. If you're going to approach me and say, good morning, that's one thing, but I don't need to hear the constant little commentary. I don't really care about everyone else's opinions. And second of all, there is an individual here who was called to the grand jury, violated a grand jury order of secrecy, and posted things about the grand jury such that I know the grand jury advisors went to the presiding judge. I believe that day it was Judge Rosales, and he was ordered to show in the grand jury or in the Department 100 for an OSC, failure to appear. I believe there's a warrant in the system. And then, ton, ton, ton. Yo, I can see Steve ducking right
Clutching
now.
my pearls.
Then, even though he was told to approach, and then even though he was told not to approach any of the other witnesses, he attempted to speak to the family as well as Mr. Steinfeld. the other day, and I told him in the hallway it was totally inappropriate, that he shouldn't be speaking to anybody. And I know that he will be posting things because he posts things every day. But given there's a witness exclusion order, he should be excluded as well.
Ma'am, I think that you should raise above gossip. No, sir. I mean, can you believe like what she said is like, this is like a kid stuff, like high school drama, I think. This shouldn't be brought into a courtroom like this.
She
Okay.
said, I mean, everything she said, she was like, I don't listen to people, but yet there's still
And
stuff being posted. I'm like, what?
And I'm referring to the first part, which I assume was the issue with Becky and the other girl, right? The first thing that she addressed. Steve was the second.
Yes, Steve with the second. Go ahead,
Yeah,
court number
like
14.
the first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And this individual's name is?
Steve Fisher.
Can you stand up, Mr. Fisher? Do you want to be Steve
Yep,
Fisher?
I got it. Steve
Go
Fisher.
for it.
All right, sir. I'm right now, sir. I am right now. Right now, anything grand jury is not before me. That's usually handled by the supervising judge or assistant supervising judge in Department 100. If something with Miss Silverman is pursued regarding that, I will have to find out from them the procedure. So I am not dealing with that issue. But there is an exclusion order. So any potential witnesses for trial, as well as an actual witnesses, are excluded from the courtroom. The only exception I've made has been either for Mr. Burke's family or the Miss Rivas Hernandez family. So I don't know. I have not reviewed the grand jury transcript personally, so I don't know what you may have said in the grand jury. But to the extent that you were called before, the grand jury, you are a potential witness. So I apologize. I am going to have to ask you to step out.
I respect your decision and understand.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And if anything else, Miss Silverman comes up, and hold on one moment, Mr. Fisher. If anything comes up about the grand jury stuff, that's like I said, that's usually not the matters I deal with. I'll have to look into see how that's handled. Hold on. I will certainly give you some direction where that goes or what that goes, but at this point, that's not before me.
Can I put one thing on the record that's not about the grand jury?
Is it about the exclusion?
No, it's about Mr. Steinfeld. It's about Mr. Steinfeld approaching me. He approached me. I did not approach him.
You want me to read Steinfeld?
Please.
Right, Your Honor. If I can clarify things, I approached Mr. Fisher, introduced myself. He asked how the family was doing, and I told him as well as can be expected under the circumstances. And he said that he was glad to see that the family had an attorney, and asked when Miss Silverman walked by and said that he was a witness and I should not be speaking with him. I wasn't aware that he was a witness, so I apologize for that.
And I wasn't aware who he was.
The whole conversation was about 15 seconds.
Okay. Probably today has taken longer than what the actual conversation was. We don't need to go into, I'm not conducting any sort of grand jury hearing at this stage whatsoever. So, but just on the basis of you being a potential witness, I am going to have to ask you to leave.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Thank you, Mr. Steinfeld. Ms. Burke, I don't want you to feel excluded from the conversation. Is there anything you want to put on the record before we begin?
No, Your Honor, thank you. I wasn't clear. Was there a representation as to Mr. Fisher being previously present on any previous day of the preliminary hearing?
I don't believe there was. I recognize some faces out in the audience. I can't tell you whether or not he was here, but to the extent that he was a potential witness, I've asked him to be excluded.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, with that, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and we're going to go ahead and get started. People, who did we have on the stand?
Hold up. Let me think for a minute. So, oh my God, that was interesting. That was interesting. That I bet. Oh my God. And then Marissa, you came after that, after they pulled the other girl out?
Yes. Well, I'm standing outside next to Becky. We're standing right at the door. And all of a sudden, the girl comes out with the bailiff behind her. And I was like, oh, snap. I knew what was going on there. But then Steve comes out after her with the bailiff. Like, and I'm going, wait, he just got in there. Like, what the heck is happening now?
Yeah.
And then,
I mean,
yeah, then I got to see. So
I'm glad
thank
he
you.
put it on the record though, guys.
But-
I mean, honestly, because we wouldn't have known, the whole thing was like, oh, he got kicked out. Oh no, he's doing something wrong. But look, I mean, he cleared him and the lawyer kind of cleared it there. Wow.
Meanwhile,
This would've
David's still
been
sitting there at the table, just
Entertained. I don't know, man,
hearing all
because it's
this.
like, I know, right? Oh God. Okay. All right. Y'all ready?
Ooh, we're about to get a sidebar.
Yes, Flojo. He went from getting kicked out of the court. He came straight to my channel. Don't you forget that. Right. Okay. I believe it was we had Miss Wallace on cross.
Where is she? Outside in the hallway?
Yes, the detective went to go get her.
Can I see all counsel at sidebar just briefly?
Then there was a
at si-
sidebar too.
Yeah, so the following discussion was held at sidebar. All counsel, if you can come up this way. This is our microphone right here. I did want to make sure that you both knew. I think some people from the audience were saying they could see someone scream on the computer screen. I don't know if the defense has computer screens. Are people sitting behind you? Are people sitting behind you? I don't know if the people have computer screens up. I just want to advise you all of that because there is a lot of people in proximity of people. My God, I don't know what you have on the screens, and I don't see any computers necessarily. But just please be advised. Please just be advised of that so you can be careful with what's on your screen. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
End of sidebar. All right. So we have Ms. Wallace back on the stand. And ma'am, I remind you that you remain under oath and we remain on cross-examination. Ms. Burke, you may continue.
Good morning, Ms. Wallace.
Good morning.
Ms. Wallace, when we left off yesterday, you had just indicated that during the search at 1368 Tahini on September 17th, 2025, I think you said you worked hand in hand with the detectives and had discussions with the detectives about those garage chainsaws and the testing done. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you were talking about a discussion you had with the detectives in the garage?
It may have been in the garage or just outside the garage, but it was at the residence that we had discussions about the chainsaws.
Do you specifically remember the discussion?
I remember discussing that we tested the chainsaws and the results of those tests, and it was decided that they were not of forensic value.
And it was decided that no swabs of the handles of either of those garage chainsaws, testing them for touch DNA, would be taken?
That's correct. The chainsaws did not appear to have been used, and they tested pheno-negative. Therefore, we determined to not collect them.
And no swabs of those saw blades or the teeth of the chains for touch DNA was collected or tested?
No, not for testing. There's no tests to do for touch DNA. We did swab the blades of the chainsaws, and we did the phenolphthalein test, and that was negative.
But you had testified yesterday that there were a number of items that you took that were phenol negative that were later tested for touch DNA. Is that correct?
I don't know if those items were ever tested for touch DNA. That would be the serology DNA unit that would do that. However, there were several items that we did collect that tested pheno-negative, but we collected those for various other reasons.
Was it your decision or somebody else's decision ultimately whether to collect those garage chainsaws?
It's a collaborative decision. We provide the forensic expertise. At the end of the day, it is the detective's case, and we discuss with them what we feel is forensically valuable. And we come to the conclusion whether or not one of us is going to collect the item.
And would it be fair to say that in this situation, it was the detectives who ultimately made that decision?
At the end of the day, it's their decision. However, we can provide expertise, and if there's an item that we feel needs to be collected, we will collect it.
During your search of 1368 Doheny Place, you also found a third electric saw at the residence. Is that right?
That is correct.
And that was found by you or someone else?
It was found by somebody else who was searching the interior of the residence.
Who was that?
I don't know who first observed the item. It was located in a storage closet. However, I was made aware of it and it was tested with phenolphthalein.
And that tested negative?
That's correct.
And did you collect that third saw for subsequent testing for DNA?
No, because it tested phenonegative, once again, we determined that it was not forensically valuable.
And that third saw, and that third saw that was not collected for any subsequent testing for tool mark analysis or comparisons?
Objection has been answered.
I'll allow it.
No, this item was not collected by Mrs. Well, was not collected.
Was there any discussion or testing of that item with comparisons to those linear cuts you described you found on those black mats?
There was no discussion about that at the time of the search. It was made aware to detectives that this item was there and that it screened phenonegative, and it was decided that we were not going to collect it.
And the black mats you testified about yesterday, where you described visual that you saw on those photographs you were shown, I think you said approximately 7 linear cuts. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I do.
And that was from a picture that the prosecution showed you in court, correct?
That's correct.
But you didn't ever collect those mats at the time, correct?
No, the mats were not collected. They were only photo documented.
And those black rubber mats were in sort of a puzzle piece shapes. Is that correct?
They were interlocking mats.
But you never collected any of the pieces that you say had those linear cuts, correct?
No, those were not collected.
And I think you noted in the field notes at the search that there was some kind of musical merchandise that was being made in the garage area using fake blood, correct? Is that correct?
We were aware that there were items that had been made using the fake blood, and we observed fake blood jugs and trays in the garage.
And did you at any time collect any of that fake blood for analysis?
We do not collect it for analysis. We did test it with the phenolphthalein, and it was negative.
Did you document that anywhere in your report that you tested the blood with phenolphthalein?
Yes.
Can you direct me as to where in your report you documented that?
It is on the sketch, the handwritten sketch in the field notes, and it's indicated by an X with a circle around it, and it says fake blood next to it. It is adjacent to PID 11.
And that was on page 9 where you diagrammed items that, I said that right, yeah, where you diagrammed items in small writing about the garage where you had phenonegative tests.
I don't recall if it's page 9. I would have to refer to my notes to confirm that. However, yes, it is on our handwritten diagram.
Will you refresh your recollection to look?
Yes.
Your Honor?
You may.
Yes, the handwritten sketch is on page 9.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may I ask as defense exhibit next for identification a one-page photograph. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
N, a one-piece photograph of the second floor piano area of the home at 1368 Tahini.
It will be so marked.
Any marked? Okay, give me a line 5 on right there. Do you recognize this photo from your search at 1368 Doheny?
Yes.
You told us yesterday that it was at the beginning of the search that the areas of the home were photo documented?
The photographer initially does overall photographs, and she does that of every area. And that is depicting the home as it was found prior to us searching the residence. She also does photographs throughout the search.
And looking at what's been marked as defense N for identification, does that fairly and accurately depict what you saw in that area in that photograph at the time that the search was initiated?
I believe that was how it was. I would have to look back at photos to be sure that this is one that was prior to anything being moved.
Were there photographs taken of the piano area before things were moved and after things were moved?
Yes. She does initial overall photos prior to the search being done.
Ms. Wallace, did you document did you document in your field notes or anywhere else in your reports about finding a large box with a burn cage in it? Correct that.
No, I did not.
Did you ever observe while you were at the residence on the second floor near this piano area a box with a burn cage in it?
No, I did not.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Silverman.
Yes, briefly. When you go out to a crime scene, do you automatically collect every piece of property at a location?
No.
Why not?
We only take things that are forensically valuable, meaning we believe that later on they could be processed analytically for DNA or some other forensic discipline.
So if you have an item that appears to have been unused, that would not be an item you would collect because there wouldn't be any forensic value to bring back to the lab.
That's correct.
If you determine that something is potentially forensically valuable and it's brought back to the lab, is it automatically tested by one of the disciplines?
No, the detectives have to request for the item to be analyzed. A lot of times we collect a lot of items and it's impossible to test everything. So it is up to the detectives to determine what to prioritize and what they want to test.
And often those decisions, just like we talked about, or you mentioned as the search warrant, are made by collaborations. In other words, with input by the expert at the lab, such as yourself.
Yes, we often have consult or conversations with the detectives and an analyst from our serology DNA unit to decide what pieces of the evidence have the best chance of gaining a DNA profile.
Because again, you said it's impossible to test everything. Is it also impossible to test everything that is potentially collected at a search warrant such as this?
Yes, a lot of items are often collected.
And a lot of items are often not tested.
Yes.
So that's a collaborative decision between the forensic experts and the detective trying to understand what it is they're looking for to prove. And given the limited resources, what has the most potential to prioritize?
That's correct.
You said that there was a third electric saw that was not a chainsaw, correct?
No, it was not.
That was some sort of a handheld mini saw upstairs?
Yes.
And the photograph that defense counsel showed you of the piano area, that was not the area that you were assigned to search, correct?
No, I was primarily in the garage.
Okay, and that was the area that you documented.
Yes.
But the entire property was photo documented, correct?
That's correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Burke, recross.
Ms. Wallace, I think you said that Detective Farrell at the beginning of the search had given you specific direction that you were going to be looking for tools and or weapons possibly used in the dismemberment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you just explained that the only items you took were items that could be processed, meaning if they can be processed, that was part of your decision in taking this assignment. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But there was nothing about those three different saws that prevented you from taking them and having them potentially tested for DNA, correct?
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled. Witness may answer.
There was nothing preventing us. However, we tested them at the scene with phenolphthalein and they were negative.
Your Honor, excuse me?
She can explain her answer.
Which led us to believe that they were not of forensic value. Therefore, we did not collect them.
But if an item has somebody else's DNA on it, you wouldn't be able to see that at the time you identify it, right? Correct?
If we are discussing touch DNA,
Yes.
then no, we're not able to see that. We screened the items for potential blood and we found that it was negative.
But that doesn't preclude all that there could be, but that doesn't preclude at all that there could be somebody else's touch DNA on the item, correct?
That's correct. However, if the item had been used to dismember a body, I would imagine that there would be potential blood on the item, which is why we screened it for blood.
And as for that third saw, there was absolutely nothing that prevented you from collecting that tool to submit for testing to see if somebody else's DNA was on it, correct?
Again, nothing prohibited us from doing that, but we did do the phenolphthalein test on it, and it was negative.
But no swab was taken to see if somebody else's touch DNA, if somebody's touch DNA was on it.
That's correct. And in this instance, we knew that there were many people at the residence, and so we were looking primarily for blood evidence on these items.
Your Honor, I object as non-responsive after the initial phrase that she did not submit.
The court will allow the answer to remain.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Anything further?
Just briefly, you don't look to collect touch DNA from a location where the suspect lives, right?
Typically, no.
Why?
If they live at the residence, we would expect their touch DNA or their DNA to be present on items present at the residence.
So in other words, it's not probative.
Correct.
No forensic value.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Ms. Wallace, you were aware that multiple people lived at this residence, correct? Silverman.
I'm going to object. That assumes facts and evidence, and it's false.
The court will allow the question, not for the truth of the matter asserted, but simply to see if what may have been impacted the witness' decision to take or test certain items, so that the presumption is true, but if there was something along those lines that contributed to her decision as to what to test for.
Yes, we were aware that several people resided at this residence.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything further? Further redirect?
Because this was a rental property.
We did know it was a rental property.
That's all. Thank you, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Silverman?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. People may call their next witness.
Okay, let me stop right here. Yo, this, I mean, it's I think the forensic person is making sense to me. Like, you're not going to go collecting everything.
Of course. That's crazy. But you know what's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. And there is such thing as outside the scope of the warrant. So they're not going to get every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
But think about what we said 6 months ago when we weren't getting any answers, and then we were finding these pictures, like the ones that SF was posting, where we're like, well, why didn't they take this? What happened? Oh my God! Then I'm like, well, this makes sense why they wouldn't take everything, because maybe there wasn't anything forensically linked to it.
I kept saying because it was sealed. They're not going to take something that's sealed. If it's sealed, it's blue. What are you going to find in there? I mean, whatever was sealed, they don't. And I think that some things they just didn't take, but they did do the luminol testing and saw it was negative. There was presumptive, is it called presumptive negative or whatever? It didn't glow.
Yeah.
So they just moved on. There's no need to further test it.
Exactly.
But
They said it was negative. That's what were they going to do?
Okay.
True. But you know what
All
gets
right.
me here? It's like, okay, so the judge is kind of like, they're presenting this to her. All of these things that these, like the judge knows why they didn't take it. So why even bring that up as, like, why even argue that when you're presenting this to the judge who knows the law? Right? Like for a jury, I understand, but for a judge?
Well, they're looking for that opportunity to raise an argument that either that this wasn't a thorough investigation, or possibly that wasn't as much for them to do as we would like to think that they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you may get away with that to a jury, but to a judge?
Well, the judge still has to. I don't think. Well, the thing is, you want it on the record. Remember now at this point. Remember the judge already made her ruling. This is all going to trial, but that's part of how that's part of the defense here. You got to look to attack the basis for the probable cause.
Every hole possible. Yeah.
What's that?
Every hole possible. You got to poke. This is what they do. They poke it. So the way I see it is, if it does go to trial, he's found guilty, then you're looking for things in appeal, right? Like this would be one of them. They didn't test everything, guys. There's evidence.
I promise you on appeal, that's nothing.
Okay.
That much I promise you, because to win
Yeah,
your
but-
appeal, it's not enough that witnesses may have had some bad recall here, here and there, or that in this case an expert may not have been as thorough as she could have been.
Yeah.
It's proving material issues, these more fundamental underlying issues to the case. So you can have some, like identifying what's here. This was an example that I was given. So let's say it's late afternoon. It's like summer like this. All right. So it's a gas station. You have an overhead camera. Let's imagine someone is attacked. All right. So your camera sees overhead. It doesn't see a face. The victim's attacked from behind, mugged from behind. The suspect runs off. Okay. So we don't get a face on camera. So a witness on the ground, let's say, even whether or not that witness is on camera, but somebody saying, I saw somebody matching that description. I saw his face running east to get away from that gas station. That becomes a material witness. That becomes a witness that is allowing other evidence to make sense together. So it's the material issues that you have to prove on appeal were harmed, I said that wrong. What you have to do is prove that a material issue at your trial was we'll say complicated in some way, that there was something, it has to basically, you have to win your appeal on a material issue. And like you saw, what was it? I always go back to Alec Baldwin's case because everybody saw that it was let go, that the case was dismissed. Yeah, because it was a material issue. So remember, the state was saying Alec Baldwin was liable because Hannah was his employee. He had to oversee her.
Yeah.
And saying that he allowed her to bring in live rounds without overlooking her. And the truth was actually that the guy providing the rounds was mixing up live and dummy rounds. He was taking discarded shells from true firearms and he would hollow them out, and then he would give them an authentic look for movies when he was making the dummies. But he was also mixing in live rounds. So then that was a material issue. So was it Alec Baldwin's fault or was it Seth's fault? Seth Kenney was the one providing the rounds. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So if Alec Baldwin were convicted, if that same exact issue came up on appeal, he would have been released.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, it has to be on a material issue. It can't just be little trivial stuff.
Gotcha. So we're just building up to that. I think so. Let's go ahead. Should we start at 19? I think so. That way we're almost there. 19? Yeah.
On page 31.
Okay, that's me. So I believe our next witness, okay, you asked me who the witnesses is, right? I believe our next witness may be testifying in Department 109, but if so, we'll go out of order and call someone unrelated to the last two witnesses.
I'm lost.
Court. We're in 23, page 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. If that witness is in 109, there's not much this court can do. There's a brief pause. Then there's the clerk says, go ahead and stand right there. So I'm guessing the person comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then for the
Raise your hand.
Yeah, that's
just
swearing.
Are we
Line
skipping this or
13.
no? Are
We skip the swearing. Yeah, let's skip the
Okay.
swearing. And her name is Lisa. Is it? How do you say it? Marissa, you were there. How did she say it?
I think it's just
Mahendra?
Alejandro.
Alejandro.
Oh, okay.
Looks like Lahendro.
Is Lisa Laendro.
Alejandro.
Oh,
Laendro. Ooh.
Laendro, silent
Okay.
H.
All right. Miss Laendro, can you tell us how it is you're employed?
I'm employed by the Los Angeles Police Department as a criminalist assigned to the Trace Analyst Unit.
What is your title? Criminalist what?
Criminalist 3.
How many years have you been employed as a criminalist with the LAPD's crime lab?
26 years.
And are you assigned to a particular unit?
Yes, the Trace Analysis Unit.
How many years have you been assigned to trace analysis?
22 years.
Can you tell us what your responsibilities are in Trace Analysis Unit?
In the Trace Analysis Unit, I examine physical evidence in the form of hairs, fibers, shoe and tire evidence, general trace evidence collection, physical fit evidence, paint evidence, and gunshot residue analysis.
Tell us a little bit about your education, your background, your training in this area that qualifies you as an expert.
I have a bachelor's degree in health science from California State University, Northridge. I have a master's degree in criminalistics from California State University of Los Angeles, training specifically in the types of analysis that I did in this case for general trace evidence collection. I read numerous books and journal articles in the collection, detection and recovery and preservation of trace evidence. I shadowed an experienced analyst in casework evidence, and then I also completed numerous exercises collecting different types of physical evidence. And I had to complete a written examination and a competency examination before I was allowed to perform any casework. For physical fit evidence, very similar training program. Reading numerous books and journal articles on the detection, recovery, and comparison of physical fit evidence. Again, monitored an experienced analyst in that discipline performing that type of casework, and then I completed numerous exercises where I was comparing various types of evidence such as wood, knives, plastic type evidence, plastic bags, a whole variety of trace evidence and the characteristics that are imparted in those items when they're broken, cut, or torn. And I also completed a written exam and a competency examination.
And on top of that, you also attend continuing education seminars
Yes, I do.
through like CAC and various criminalistic agencies and committees.
Yes, I'm a member of the California Association of Criminalists and also the American Society of Trace Evidence Examiners.
And did you also do a presentation in the last couple of years as a keynote speaker regarding trace evidence analysis?
Yes, at the 2024 California Association of Criminalists seminar, I was part of the investigative and legal presentation of the Alexander Hernandez serial murder case. And my portion of the presentation was a physical fit examination that I performed.
What is a physical fit examination?
It's an examination where you compare the class and the incidental characteristics between two items to determine if they were once joined together.
So you look at a class as well as the individual characteristics.
Correct.
For things like edge, contour, and details, and things of that nature?
Correct.
Approximately how many cases of or evidence samples would you say that you have examined over the course of your career?
A little over approximately 829.
And in some of those cases, they involve multiple pieces of evidence like this one did?
That's correct.
All right. Have you also qualified and testified before as an expert in forensic analysis as well as trace evidence?
Yes.
And did you analyze some evidence in this case? LAPD case number 25 dash blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
And does that correspond to the SID case number 25 dash blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
Did you analyze and examine, did your analysis and examination take place over several days in this case?
Yes.
Let's talk first about blue inflatable pool. Is that an item that you examined that was recovered from the defendant's home during the search warrant on September 17 of 2025?
Yes.
And what did you do with that item?
My initial examination was the general trace evidence collection. So with that item, I was examining it for any trace evidence that may have been left behind that might have been probative. I examined it visually and with a handheld magnifier, and I collected possible hairs, possible fibers, possible plant material, and some black foam-like fragments.
Like black rubber foam type flakes?
It was more of a foam consistency.
So maybe if you're talking about a black mat, the material that's between those layers.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Potentially?
Possibly.
And when you went to do your visual analysis with your handheld magnifier, did you have to collect the pool from booked evidence at the lab?
Yes.
And then did you take it somewhere in order to lay it out so that you could see the entire object?
Yes. I took it to a secured room.
Your Honor, I have an exhibit that has two photographs. It is titled Inflatable Pool, item 68, LIM's limbs. number 7.1, physical analysis and diagram, may be marked, please, as People's 52.1 for identification.
So marked.
Thank you. Let's look at, first of all, the photograph on the left, which appears to be a photo of a diagram. Do you recognize that item?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what is that?
That's a sketch that I made during my analysis of the pool.
So this was a sketch that you made where you had laid out this item so that you could examine it visually with a microscope, or excuse me, with a handheld magnifier.
Yes.
And the photograph on the right, what do we see here?
That is item 6.8, the pool that I examined.
When you collect this item, when you collected this item from evidence and then went to lay it out in a secure room, was there anything that fell off or any debris that came loose from the pool at that time?
The items that I collected, the possible hairs, possible fibers, possible plant material, and the foam-like flakes are what I collected.
That fell off?
Well, I collected them off the item.
They came loose? In other words, from the pool when you opened it?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Did you also look at some of these items that you collected, the trace evidence you collected from the pool, more closely?
Yes, I used a stereo microscope to examine those items to describe them.
What's a stereo microphone?
It's a low magnification microscope. It can go anywhere from 10 to about 100 times magnification, just so you can see the items more closely and see the features.
Did you notice anything on either the front or the underside of this particular pool area?
On the underside of the pool, there were some possible footwear impressions.
Did you do anything to try to collect those?
I attempted to collect them with an electrostatic dust lifter, and I was unsuccessful, possibly due to the pool being very uneven surface and very thick. So I couldn't get a good contact to bring the impressions up onto the lifting film.
And you didn't have any shoes that you could use for comparison to this anyway, correct?
Correct.
So in looking at the pool, did you make any what we might call general or class characteristic observations?
Well, the general class observations would be the color. The pool is 2 different colors, and then also the pool was textured. On the top surface, it had a wave pattern, and on the underside of the individual material, it was a grid pattern.
The two, excuse me, the 2 different colors, both of those are a blue color, like a darker blue and a medium or lighter blue?
That's correct.
Excuse me. As we see in this photograph here in 52.1.
Yes.
All right. Did you also know whether or not there was any damage to that particular inflatable pool?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that, if you would.
I found 4 areas of damage. I indicated that in my sketch here. Theirs, and I labeled them as A, B, C, and D. A would be right next to the seat there. B would be up on if the pool had been inflated, maybe where you would rest your arm. And then C was over the seat, on the seat opposite of A. And then D was again up on the area of the pool where inflated, where your arm would rest.
Okay. And you've indicated on this diagram in the 4 corner seats and then even further out to the actual corner itself. Hold up. The actual corner itself headrests.
That's correct.
Okay. So in other words, this is a photograph here in 52.1 of the pool deflated.
Correct. That's the state it was in when I got it.
Now, in terms of the damage to the pool, I think you described them as cuts.
There are damaged areas where there's straight like linear cuts.
And the edges you said are?
They're a mixture of scalloped and straight.
And were some of those edges irregular?
Yes.
Is that the word, that the scallop refers to? Is that what you're talking about? That the edges are irregular?
Well, it's a combination of the scalloped, and maybe some weren't as scalloped but were irregular, and some were straighter. It's a combination of all three.
And again, when you look at these areas, were there numerous cuts, both linear and scalloped edge? Did the cuts go all the way through the layers of the pool?
Yes. For the bottom of the pool, it was composed of a single layer that went through. And then where the other damaged areas were, there's like on the seat or up on where you would rest your arm, it went through several layers.
In looking at those areas where there appears to be these cuts, did it appear that they were made with some type of sharp object or tool, as opposed to let's say being torn?
Yes.
What else did you do with respects to this particular pool?
I also did a physical fit examination.
And you looked at the pool, you told us, with a hand magnifier?
That's correct.
And you use other techniques to magnify and light?
For the physical fit analysis, I used stereo microscopes as well.
And did you also photo document what you observed as you went along?
Yes.
All right. Now, in terms of the physical fit analysis, what did that entail here?
Well, I was requested to look at some material fragments that were collected by the medical examiner, and then to compare those fragments to the damaged area of the pool.
And so what did you do?
Well, first, with the fragments from the medical examiner's office, I examined those with the stereo microscope. I photo documented those items, and then I assigned each one of the fragments that I was comparing a letter, so I could keep track of which fragment was which. And then I compared them one at a time to all the damaged areas on the pool using the stereo microscope.
Okay, did you also photograph that process?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have an exhibit that contains 2 photographs. It is titled Physical Fit Analysis Fragment A and E. May this exhibit be marked as Exhibit 52.5 for identification.
So marked.
Are you able to see that from where you're seated?
Yes.
So tell us what we're looking at here, and you can start with the photograph on the left. So this, I assume, would be fragment A given the black A that we can see in the middle of this lighter blue.
That's correct. In the center of the photograph, there's an arrow pointing to fragment A. On either side of that fragment is the damaged area of the pool. You can see that the edges align on both sides and that the surface detail on top of the pool aligns with the surface detail on top of the fragment.
So you're basically trying to put together like pieces of a puzzle, but they're very small in nature.
Correct.
Okay. And what did you find with respects to this fragment A that came from the medical examiner's office?
That it formed a physical fit with the pool in the area, specifically B.
So the fragment A fit into this missing piece where there was a damage or a cut.
Correct.
And so when you call that a physical fit, means that it matches that empty space.
That they were both once one object at one time.
So that fragment A at one time was part of this pool?
Correct.
And it looks like on the photograph you've indicated even the magnification range. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you use the range between 10 and 20 times?
Yes.
And when you also wrote some initials and a serial number and a date, is that right?
Yes.
So that's the way that you photo document who did it and when.
Correct.
Okay, let's move on to the photograph in the right. Please, the darker blue. Tell us what we see here, please.
This is similar to fragment A. In the center, you have fragment E, indicated by the arrow. And then on either side and above is the pool, item 6-8. And you see that it aligns along 3 different edges with the pool.
And is that if we look at the edges of that piece there, is that the scallop edge that you previously described?
Yes.
And once again, is this a photograph that you took using the same magnification as the one on the left on this one February 12th?
Between 10 and 20 times, yes.
In terms of the magnification?
Correct.
Okay, so again, this was a piece that originally came from the corner, but originally was in a piece of this pool.
Correct.
Your Honor, I have another similar exhibit, except this one is titled Physical Fit Analysis Fragment J. May it be marked, please, as People's 52.6 for identification.
So marked.
Looking at 52.6, and again, starting with the photo on the left, can you tell us what we're seeing here?
Yes, this is fragment J indicated by the arrow in the center, and then all of the materials surrounding it is the pool, the damaged area of the pool. You can see that it aligns along both the top, both sides, and the bottom with the pool, and that the wave pattern continues from the pool across the fragment as well.
And once again, on the right side of this fragment, is that the scallop edge that you described previous?
This one is a little more irregular than the last one. I would probably call this an irregular edge versus scalloped.
What was your conclusion?
That fragment J was once part of item 6-8, the pool.
Look at the photograph on the right of 52.6. Can you describe what we're looking at here?
What we're looking at here is fragment J again, only it's been flipped over so you can see the opposite side. Same thing with the pool.
Keep going.
When you look at the photograph on the left, there's a little notch at the very top of the fragment on the left. With this flipped over, where that notch is this little tail here that aligns with the missing area of the same shape underneath the pool.
So, Miss Alejandro, you can use, I think there's a pointer right there that's stiff, and you can use this thing above you if it doesn't. If you're able to get in there with the chair and point to what you're talking so the judge can see exactly what you're describing.
Okay. Originally in this fragment, there's a little notch up here, and this is the top surface of the pool and the fragment. When you flip it over, this is the underside of the fragment. See, here's this edge here that corresponds to that edge there. And that little notch there is this little piece here that continues on underneath the pool. And you can see that the pattern is similar to, the grid pattern is similar. It fits within there.
Thank you. What are the red objects that we see in the photograph on the right?
Those are clamps that I had to use to hold the pool flat so I can photograph it with the microscope.
And in terms of the gold object that looks like a little mini broomstick, what is that used for?
That is a scale just to give perspective of what the size the items are.
And what is the scale on this particular item that you used here? What size are we talking about?
1/2 centimeter.
Your Honor, I have another exhibit that appears to have 12 small photographs on it. It is titled Physical Fit Analysis Compared Fragments Collected at Autopsy, Medium and Dark Blue Material to Pool. May it be marked, please, as People's Exhibit 52.4.
So marked.
All right, Ms. Alejandro, do you recognize what you see here?
Yes.
What does this exhibit contain?
This contains all of the fragments that I compared to the pool.
And what did you do with these particular fragments? We can see here that I think there's 5 of them that are the lighter blue and the rest are the darker blue.
Correct. I examined them prior to comparing them to the pool and photographed both the front and back of each of the items to show the surface detail. And then I assigned each one of them a separate letter so I could identify them. So
with respects to these, or let me ask you specifically, material fragments that you identified as B, C, K, and L, what did you determine with respects to those items, those fragments?
I determined that they were similar in class characteristics, the color, the texture of both sides to the pool, but they did not form physical fits with the pool.
Was that because you appeared to be missing sufficient pieces tiny little pieces so that you weren't able to establish a physical fit to the pool, like we saw with, I think it was J and A and E?
That's correct.
Objection, leading calls for speculation.
Overruled.
That's correct.
That's correct.
All right. And so did you conclude that in fact, then there were fragments, then these fragments also could have originated from the pool?
Yes.
What about material fragments D, F, and I?
The same. I had reached the same conclusion that they were similar in class characteristic only, and no physical fit was found.
And again, was that for the same reason? In other words, that you were missing sufficient small, tiny little pieces that you weren't able to establish a physical fit?
That's correct.
What about the remaining pieces? I think we have G, H, and I, or maybe it's just G and H.
That would be the same. Similar in class characteristics, but no physical fit.
For the same reasons we discussed?
Yes.
Now, in terms of the evidence that you received from the medical examiner's office, how was that received, and what was its condition?
I received it from our property division. It was in a sealed envelope, and I photographed it as I opened it.
Your Honor, I have another exhibit. It has 2 photographs in it. It is titled Trace Evidence from Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Bundle 1. May it be marked, please, as People's Number 52.2 for identification?
I'm sorry, 52.2?
Yes.
So marked.
Looking at what we have here, can you explain to the court what we're looking at, starting with the photograph on the left?
On the left is a bindle labeled Trace 1 from the medical examiner's office. And then I opened the envelope, or opened the bindle, and photographed it. And that was the contents there, the material fragments, possible hairs, and possible fibers.
And this particular envelope that we see depicted within the scale, did it appear to have the identification that you're familiar with from the coroner's department, which is now retitled the medical examiner's department?
Yes.
And does it now appear to contain a coroner's case number of 2025 blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
And does it also contain information as to who collected it, a barcode, other identifying information that you are familiar with from your work at the lab?
Yes.
And so what did you do with these items that you see in Exhibit 52.2?
These were the ones that I removed the fragments from the bindle. I left the possible hairs and fibers in the bindle, and I photographed the fragments through the stereo microscope prior to comparison.
And is that what we see there in the photograph to the right?
Yes.
So if we look at, I can see this, it looks larger in this photograph because you have it under magnification. This larger light blue piece on the right, but then is there also a dark blue, tiny little piece at the bottom?
Yes.
And and a light blue piece right above it?
Yes.
At the top. And then another light blue piece to the left?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the size and type of pieces that you then tried to match or did match with the pool?
Yes.
I have another similar exhibit, Your Honor, with 2 photographs, except this one says bindle. Is it meant to say bundle or bindle number 2?
It is bindle, yeah.
It's
They're
bindle,
called
not bundle?
It's bindle. Basically, what they look like is like, think of an index card. They're these really tiny envelopes that had the blue fragment pieces in it. So they were really small. So it was the bindles are coming from the medical examiner that he took pieces.
You were able to see them in the court? Were you able to see them as well? Wow.
Yeah.
And so they're saying that that's what was on her body, right?
Yes. So they're comparing what's in the bindle, the fragments from her autopsy, to the pool.
How small? I mean, are you talking about tiny, small pieces?
There's tiny. And what I can say, what I did was like, let me show you this real quick. When I went out.
Yeah, please do. I'm
lunch,
curious.
I kind of did this to like explain it. We're gonna take some paper.
Were they like tiny manila envelopes?
You could have, say this is the pool, say this is what she has on the pool is looking at, right? But then maybe this piece is what came from the ME. She's going, this fragment fit in here. Boom, it matches.
Just like she said, like a puzzle. She's basically putting everything
She's
together.
putting
Oh
puzzle
my
pieces.
God.
But some of the pieces that were in the bindles were so small and tiny. That's why she couldn't match them into the puzzle, because they are so small.
Oh, so, and this is just so for reference, they mentioned Alex Hernandez. This is the football player, right? The one that she says she did work with trace evidence with her experience. I'm pretty sure she's talking about Alex Hernandez. And she went to a conference. That was earlier. I'm pretty sure y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I remember that the football player that committed suicide. I mean, committed unalignment. Yeah,
unalignment in the prison.
in jail. Yeah,
in jail. Yeah. Okay. So I was like, because when I heard that name, I said, I'm pretty sure she's referring to the what's the, they determined that he had the brain disease that
yeah.
forgot.
They tried to
CTE.
blame it on that. Yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. Okay.
So
Okay,
this
so
expert is the type of expert that like would take like in a case when you see that they use what is that tape, that really thick gray tape?
mhm.
Cons- Well,
The
that
lift?
tape, like,
Duct tape?
huh? Like what?
Duct
The
tape?
lift,
Great
the lift
Like
tape.
duct tape. Like when you take
Oh.
duct tape to use something, and then they bring in an expert to match that that both pieces came from a certain like specific roll. That's like what this expert does, right?
Mhm.
You're able to
Yeah,
identify. Okay.
yeah. That's she's like an
She's an expert,
evidence
man.
puzzle master, basically.
So you were
putting it
watching all
together.
of this. Like you were like,
Yes.
wow, wow.
Yes.
Oh my God, I would have loved to have been there for that.
Mhm.
Okay. So okay, wait. So are we ready? Line
Yeah.
one. Your Honor, with two photographs, except this one says bindle number 2. May it be marked, please, as People's 52.3 for identification.
So marked.
All right. Again, now looking at 52.3, the photograph on the left, what are we looking at here?
This was a second bindle in the item labeled trace number 2 from the medical examiner's office.
My God, why am I lost? Hold up. Okay, there it is. Wait.
I think
From the medical
15.
examiner's office?
15.
15. Yeah.
It's still going from including the medical. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. With the exact same information on the exterior of the envelope, including the medical examiner seal, county seal, and the coroner case number.
Yes.
And then after you opened up the bindle, is that what you photographed here on the right?
Yes.
And describe for us what we see here.
Again, it's more of those material fragments and then possible hairs, possible fibers.
Again, items that you attempted to, and in some cases were successful in matching back to the pool.
Correct.
All right.
We'll go ahead and stop there and take our break. You may step down, ma'am. You're ordered back in 15 minutes. And I just wanted to address one thing on the record because I neglected to do so before we started our preliminary hearing. Ms. Silverman, to the extent that there is any communication or noise or chatter in the courtroom while proceedings are going on, please bring them to my attention. I will certainly address them. Anything in the hallway, I am not sure I can necessarily address it. Depends upon the nature.
Understood. Oh.
Of the court communication, but you're certainly welcome to bring it to the court's attention, and we can see what we can do or can do with regard to any outside communication. But anything within this courtroom during the proceedings, please definitely bring them to my attention as soon as they're happening. Okay? And I neglected to put that on the record when we were dealing with the topic. Same goes for the defense too.
Sorry, where'd my line go?
Line
There.
24.
Thank you, Your Honor.
15-minute recess, and we'll see everyone back soon. Thank you.
Let me go to the restroom. Speaking of recess.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, sorry. On my end, I think my internet is going a little slow, so it blurs on my end.
You know
Okay,
what's so
no
funny?
for that.
That
Wait,
earlier,
yeah, go ahead.
earlier when Miss Silverman said this, I thought to myself, wait a minute, but how can you say that there's chatter going on in the courtroom? Doesn't everybody hear it? Like when if there was chatter, like she put on the record earlier, I was like, that doesn't make any sense because everybody would have heard it if somebody's gossiping and chit chatting behind you, right?
I guess it depends how loud.
But it's interesting that the judge brought it up and addressed it.
I think it was having to do with the fact that right before going in the courtroom, the issue with the whole pink sauce, pink chainsaw with pizza rolls out there, because she was going to say, like, I can tell them not to let you in here and stuff. Like she
Yes.
so I think she went in there and was saying that, you know, oh, she made comments the day before, you know, out in the hall. I might not remember her face. She's not in here now. And the judge is saying, like, she can't handle the space outside of her courtroom necessarily, but like if it's happening in here, let me know and I can address it. But that's her jurisdiction, I think, ends at the door.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
When Beth described it on the record, she said that not only was stuff happening outside, but right before Steve came to talk, she said there was chatter going on behind her in the courtroom. And I thought to myself when she said that, and I thought to myself, but wait a minute, everybody can hear it. And it's funny because that is what the judge is addressing, what she neglected to do so before. Which is kind of like
they
shady
didn't say anything
Silverman.
the day before. Yeah.
I keep
Was
thinking
there
that
any
you're
other
like
drama
the
we're
person
missing?
testifying. Your voice is like so mesmerizing that I keep asking you like you're the actual witness there testifying.
Oh, no, wait.
That's why. That's why I said.
You guys are sound like an AI.
No,
I don't know if
that's
that's
why I
good or
said
bad.
you are that type of expert, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, she's not the expert. She's just reading a transcript.
Yeah.
I feel like
Pretty
the
good,
expert.
though. Pretty
At this
good.
point, I might be the
Ooh.
expert because
Turns out Marissa was AI all time.
the whole time.
The whole time she was
Imagine.
AI.
You're very convincing, Marissa, as all these people testifying.
Yes. Oh my God. All right. We ready, y'all? We ready? Listen, we are getting we're flying through. So I would say we've been an hour and 30. If we do another 30 minutes, you know,
Okay.
and basically we
Yeah,
gotta
no problem.
are you guys available tomorrow? Let me know because we can finish day
I am.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll schedule that, and that way we're gonna fly through this. But I'm glad that it's very interesting. I will say,
Yeah.
just the forensic stuff. Okay, go ahead, Court. On line 1, I think, page
All
52
right.
or 54.
Yeah, I got it. All right, we're back on the record. We have Mr. Burke present, all counsel present, and our witness is back on the stand. Ma'am, I remind you you're under oath at this time. And Ms. Silverman, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. When we broke for lunch, we had just finished talking about your analysis and comparison of the fragments from the coroner's office with the medical examiner and matching or comparing to the inflatable pool. I want to move on to another area. In this case, did you also examine other items that came from the medical examiner's office?
Yes.
What was that?
The victim's clothing, specifically the leggings.
Okay. Did you look at all of the clothing together?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have an exhibit that has 4 photographs on it titled Victim's Clothing from Los Angeles County Medical Examiners. May it be marked as People's 52.9, please.
So marked?
Okay. Do you recognize what you see here in these photographs?
Yes.
Are these photographs that you took?
Yes.
Starting with the photograph in the top, hold up. Looks like on the date of March 6th of 2026?
Yes.
Starting with the photograph in the top left, can you go through all of these items and describe for us what you observe?
Yes. On the top left, it's a pair of socks, the Skechers brand socks. To the right of that is a pair of thong underwear, Victoria's Secret brand. On the bottom left is a tube top, Forever 21 brand. And to the right is a pair of leggings, and I was not able to identify the brand.
Sorry. Okay. And why was that?
Because there was no tag on the item.
Okay. Now, you told us that you specifically examined the leggings. What did you note when you examined the leggings or the items that we see here in the bottom right corner?
All of them were heavily soiled and had numerous insects.
And we see the leggings laid out there at the bottom of the photograph on the bottom right. But what are the two items just above what appears to be the leggings?
They appeared to be the portion of the leggings that has been separated from the leggings, but I did not make that comparison.
Okay, so a cut portion.
Yes,
In other words, you didn't compare those pieces to the leggings, but they appear to be the same type of material, color. In other words, general characteristics.
and they were packaged with the item.
Got it. By the way, when you look at these items, you said they were heavily soiled and they had numerous insects. When you removed the clothing from evidence in order to examine these items, were they dry?
No, they were very wet.
Did it appear that they were also deteriorating because of the wet bacteria and the insects?
Objection calls for speculation and leading.
The court will sustain it on the leading grounds, but you can rephrase the question.
Sure. What else did you notice about the items?
There was a very strong smell to them, that they were still very wet, and they were in poor condition.
Poor condition? Okay, when you say poor condition, what does that mean?
Well, that the heavy soiling would prevent me from doing the comparison that I was asked to do.
Okay, when you look at evidence in a case, is it sometimes the situation where certain items that are collected might be examined by various disciplines at the lab, various sections of the lab?
Yes,
For instance, we talked about you coming from trace evidence section. We're going to hear later from DNA. We heard a couple of witnesses that came in from field investigation. Is it sometimes the case that you'll pass evidence between you? In other words, someone will look at the evidence in one section and then refer or send it to another?
that's correct.
Okay. Is this the kind of evidence that you would send to DNA?
I wouldn't be responsible for sending it to DNA. The investigator may request that it be analyzed by the DNA unit, and they would make that determination if it's something that they can actually analyze or not.
Given the condition of the items?
Correct.
Okay, now did you collect any trace evidence?
I did. From the leggings, I found medium blue and dark blue material fragments.
Did they appear to be similar in terms of general characteristics to pool and the fragments that you received in bindles 1 and 2 from the coroner's department?
Visually, they appeared similar, but I did not compare them to the pool.
Your Honor, I have another exhibit. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. I was trying to highlight something because I found that interesting. 1 second. Oh, where's my highlighter? Here it is. Okay, whatever. Adobe, I don't like you anyways. All right, Your Honor, I have another exhibit. It has one photograph on it with the title the same as what we just saw on the last victim's clothing from Los Angeles County Medical Examiners. May it be marked, please, as Peoples 52.8.
So marked.
Can you describe for us when we see here or what we see here? Pretty sure it's what we see here.
This is the condition of the clothing. It was all packaged together, commingled together.
And as you said, wet. And we can see in the photograph, if you look closely, a bunch of looks like dead insects.
Yes.
So from this set of clothing, you said you found some of these blue fragments, or did that come from specifically from the leggings?
Specifically from the leggings.
Okay, and Your Honor, one final exhibit. It has one photograph. It is titled Physical Fit Analysis Compared Item 66 Black Fabric Fragment Recovered from Trash Bag to Item 91 Victim's Leggings. Wow. May it be marked, please, as Peoples 52.7.
So marked.
Showing you what's been marked as 52.7. What is this?
This is the item 66, the black fabric fragment that I was asked to compare to the victim's leggings.
And what did you do?
I examined the item with stereo microscope and I collected possible hairs, possible fibers, possible glass and some other particles, and also there were 2 yellowish stains on the item, and I collected those with a sterile swab and sterile water.
And did you then attempt to do some sort of physical fit analysis between the fragments and the leggings?
I wasn't able to because of the condition of the clothing.
And why is that?
Because when it's that heavily soiled, it can affect the appearance of the edge detail and could lead to an incorrect conclusion.
I have nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
The physical fit comparison you discussed today, that was a visual comparison, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was not based on statistical analysis of any kind, correct?
That's correct.
You made that clear in your report.
Yes, I did.
You also made clear that you didn't do any kind of exhaustive comparison.
Correct.
And I believe you said that when you received the plastic pool item, that when you laid it out for examination, that you collected trace evidence that included hairs on the item.
Yes.
Right. Shit. Wait, you lost me, buddy. What line?
Sorry,
12.
12. Sorry about that.
Number 12. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. Foam fragments on the item.
Yes.
Plant debris on the item.
Yes.
And the material that was on the surface of the pool, did it fall off or did it pull off? Or did you pull it off?
I pulled it off.
Was there any of that debris that fell off?
There may have been some that fell off onto the exam paper, and I would have collected that as well.
You talked about earlier possible footwear impressions you had attempted to collect from the bottom of the plastic pool.
Correct.
And you said you tried to collect it by dusting and could not lift the print?
Actually, the object that I would use to collect it is called an electrostatic dust lifter, and it uses an electric charge and a mylar film to cause the impression to stick to that mylar film, but when I attempted that, it was unsuccessful.
Do you know why it was unsuccessful?
It could be a number of reasons. It could be that the pool was uneven. It's uneven, an uneven surface. A flat surface is much more conducive for that type of collection. The pool was very thick, so maybe the electrostatic charge wasn't able to pass all the way through the pool, or the impressions weren't in dust and they were in another medium that couldn't have been collected in that manner.
The reason you didn't do a comparison ultimately wasn't because you didn't have shoes to compare. Am I right?
Well, no request was made to compare it.
And the detectives in the case never provided you any shoes to compare, correct?
No.
You described damage to the pool you tested as the basis for your visual comparison with the fragments. Did you ever, let me rephrase. You described scallop tears in the pool, correct?
Cuts, not tears.
Scallop cuts and then linear cuts?
Linear and irregular edges.
And I'm on number 2. Did you at any time perform any tool mark analysis on the plastic pool?
No, I did not.
Did you, sorry, it blurred a moment. Did you refer it out for any tool mark analysis?
No.
And you were never given any tools to compare to those scalloped or linear cuts?
No. My laboratory currently doesn't do tool mark comparison analysis.
Is there a department at LAPD that does that work?
No.
What do you do when you seek to have tool mark analysis done?
We haven't had a request so far. We would probably have to send it out to another lab.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Burke?
Okay. Miss Burke?
No, Ms. Burke.
More, Miss Burke?
Yeah, you have like an, excuse me.
Yeah, you have 21.
Let me see.
Get it together, Burke.
One.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. One moment. Your Honor, if I may, I apparently use a double negative.
You may, Ms.
Okay.
Ms. Brown.
Ms. Leandro, did detectives ever provide you with shoes to compare?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further. I skipped ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Redirect.
No, thank you.
All right, you may step down. People, your next witness.
Hold on. Let's see. People next witness. Yes, we're going to see if, how do you say her name? Is Tosh? Torsh?
Tosh. Yeah, Tosh.
Is available. Otherwise, we have another witness. Brief pause.
Apparently, we're calling Detective William Roker. Come on forward, sir. So then the court clerk swears them in. So William Roker, called as a witness by the people, has been sworn in and testified as follows.
All right. We starts there. Yeah, there you go.
So yeah,
Okay. So, Detective, can you tell us how it is that you're employed, please?
I'm a detective with the Los Angeles Police Department.
How many years?
Approximately, I've been a law enforcement officer 9.5 years.
And how are you currently assigned?
Currently assigned to Robbery Homicide Division Investigative Support Section.
What is that?
It's a section of robbery homicide where we focus on technology in cases. I specifically focus on call detail records related to cell phones.
And are you also a member of a particular task force through the LAPD?
Yes, I am a member of 2 task forces within the FBI. I'm a part of the Los Angeles Violent Crime Task Force, and I'm a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, otherwise known as CAST.
And is that a task force in coordination with the FBI?
Yes, it is.
In this case, did you use cell phone records as you do in your job in general in order to analyze where a suspect or suspects might have gone?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a set of exhibits that I have a set of exhibits for this witness that he prepared. I believe it's 17 pages in length. May I have this marked as People's 54 for identification?
so marked.
Did you prepare a report that contains your analysis, the front page of which we see here on the screen?
Yes, that's the front page of my report.
Okay, let's look at page 2. Can you tell us what it is that you did in this case?
So the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, or CAST, requested by the LAPD.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you for a moment. If you don't mind slowing down just a little for our court reporter.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Thank you. Oh, just so he was speaking so fast, like flying when he just naturally was going. So that's why they asked him to slow down.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
he just speaks so fast.
The court reporter is like, hold up.
she was like, hold on. And also, like, nobody else could really understand because he was flying. So that was why he's just a fast speaker. Absolutely, Your Honor. Thank you. So the Cellular Analysis Survey Team was requested by the LAPD to analyze cell phone records for 2 numbers. One was a 346-544-0571 number, and another is known as, it's an identifier called an International Mobile Subscriber Identifier, and that number is a bunch of numbers.
Okay, so the first one appears to be a cell phone number. Is that right?
That's correct.
And did you speak with detectives assigned to this case to determine who that particular number belonged to?
Yes.
Objection calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay, so who were you told that number belongs to?
Same objection.
Prop 115 is allowable?
Can I just have a continuing objection?
Yes.
David Burke.
In terms of the IMSI number that you gave us, what does that pertain to?
It belongs to a vehicle, specifically a Tesla.
And how do you know that?
That information was given to me by the IOS, and I reviewed a warrant from Tesla as well.
A warrant return that contained records relevant to the IMSI number?
That's correct.
Did you also look, as you said, at call details for this particular phone number beginning with 346 and ending in 0571?
Yes, I did.
And what were you asked to do?
I was given a set of locations and dates, and I was asked to analyze those and plot them on a map.
Okay, can we begin by describing for us?
I'm going to stop you there one moment. You said you were given the information that the 0571 number belonged to Mr. Burke. Who gave you that? Who gave you that? Burke?
It was Detective Farrell and Byers.
And then you reviewed records relevant, CDRS relevant to that particular phone number. Is that right?
That is correct.
And who was that number registered to based on phone records received pursuant to the warrant?
The phone number was subscribed to David Burke.
Okay, using page 3, can you describe for us what we're looking at here briefly?
So these pictures are the different types of cell phone towers. The one on the right is the cactus, one we would typically see on the side of the freeway. If we look at that closely at that cell phone tower, it has 3 sides. And that's going to come into play on the next slide. This slide is just to kind of show that cell phone towers can be anywhere, but that's how we communicate. That's how our phones communicate and get the information that we do.
Sure. If you go look at the left side, that is a top-down view of that cell phone tower that identifies the right. Oh, sorry. That's me,
yeah.
right? Sorry.
Yeah,
I totally
rewind.
skipped. Number 15. Looking at page 4, titled Sectors and Orientation, can you describe for us what you've laid out?
Sure. If you go look at the left side, that is a top-down view of that cell phone tower that identifies the right cactus. As we can see, that cell phone tower has 3 sides, and those sides are broken into. Those cell phone towers are designed to give 360-degree coverage, and each sector of those sides is 120 degrees.
Mm.
So this is how we break down which direction of a cell phone tower a call or a transaction was made. If I have a azimuth, I don't know what that actually is, but azimuth or direction of 0, if we look in the red, that means that the phone was pointed north away from that cell phone tower.
Showing you the next page, which I believe in page 4, or maybe it's 5, which is titled Timing Advance Explanation. Can you tell us briefly what we're looking at here?
Yes. So when we analyze call detail records, so there's records that a user would make on his phone so we can get the date and time of the phone call that was made, and that would be the tower and the sector that was used. So I can come up with a general area. Now, there's other records that are available, and these are called network, essentially network engineering record called timing advance. And timing advance is when this cell phone network in a tower calculates how far away a phone is away from a cell phone tower. Now, most of my slides today focus on timing advance. So this, you'll see the sector. So we talked about that sector, which is pointed north here, and then the distance away from that cell phone tower that the phone will be is going to be demonstrated by this arc you see right here. I typically expect to find the phone or device within this arc, but however, it can be found outside of that arc as well.
How do you know all of this?
I was previously an employee of Verizon Wireless, and I was trained by the Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
And what does the Cellular Analysis Service Team or Survey Team or CAS do?
So the Cellular Analysis Survey Team is composed of approximately 9,200 FBI agents and task force agents who specialize in historical cell phone records. We have 3 main focuses. One is live tracking of, say, a violent fugitive or a missing child or a missing hiker. 2 is historical call detail analysis. So we'll see if a phone or a different type of device was near a certain location or traveled. This is pretty much what we're going to do here today. And number 3 is to train our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners on how to read call detail records.
And does this analysis also include things like mapping and analytical reports?
Yes.
The type of thing that you're doing here today,
Yes, it does.
do you use this type of analysis not only, as you mentioned, to apprehend fugitives, perhaps recover victims, missing persons, hikers, but also assist investigators with providing investigative leads?
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit more, a little bit about your background, training experience? I know you talked about the fact that you used to work for Verizon Wireless, but what is your expertise with respects to historical mobile device analysis?
So I'll start with Verizon Wireless. So from 2014 to 2015, I worked in Verizon Wireless's Law Enforcement Resource Team section. So when detectives will write a search warrant for phone records, I was on the receiving end of that. I would pull those records manually from the Verizon Wireless systems, and if there was an emergency circumstance, or to comply with a legal demand, I would provide those records to law enforcement. In doing that, I would also explain to law enforcement how to read records. I would use Verizon systems and engineering tools to pull those records myself. As it relates to CAST, I received over 200 hours of training. CAST training typically begins with CAST Basic, which is an introduction to reading historical cell sites from the big three carriers, Verizon Wireless, AT&T, and T-Mobile. If we did well in that course, we moved on to the advanced course, which goes into more advanced investigative techniques using cell phone records to locate individuals or missing hikers, or in other cases like that. Again, we are extensively tested through that phase, and if we did well on that, we made it to the next, which is Critical Incident Readiness Assessment, where we work on live cases that CAST agents have previously worked, and we try to come to a conclusion and problem solve. And if we pass that, we make it to certification, where we get a week in radio frequency theory training.
Can you slow down just a teeny bit, man? You should have sped that up. You talk faster than me. Can you slow down just a teeny bit? You talk faster than me when you say, did you just say radio frequency?
Yes, radio frequency theory.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's so funny because she speaks so nice and calm that it makes no sense that we're trying to slow down, right?
I can speak very
Okay.
fast.
Okay, what is that?
It's essentially how a cellular network works.
And then what?
I'm sorry?
And then what?
We receive training from the big three carriers, Verizon Wireless, AT&T, and T-Mobile, and their engineers as well, about how their networks work. And then we do some drive testing and mock testimony.
Drive testing and mock testing?
And mock testimony.
When you say drive testing, that means you go to cell phone towers to look at which way they face.
Yes, and I measure their radio frequency to try to see what kind of coverage they may have.
And approximately how many times would you say you've conducted mobile device forensic analysis?
Oh, hundreds of times.
And have you actually used this analysis to locate individuals?
Yes, I have.
How many times have you done that?
To locate individuals, well, over 50 in evidence.
Have you also used mobile device forensics in order to exonerate somebody?
Yes, I have.
And testified in court as an expert with respects to this type of analysis?
Yes, I have.
And how many times have you conducted this type of analysis relative to Tesla's cellular data?
Oh, dozens of times. Vehicles essentially work the same way as a cell phone would.
And have you also testified as an expert regarding Tesla's cellular data?
To vehicles in general, yes.
And so you use in this case, as you talked about, call detail records, not just from the defendant's phone number, but also from the number which I think you referred to as the IMSI connected to the Tesla?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said that those records are virtually do the same thing and track the same thing?
Yes. Analyzing them is essentially the same way as I would analyze a phone number.
Okay. So how does a mobile device like a cell phone and a cell tower, which you showed us a little earlier, how do those things work together?
Well, if you think of when you were a kid, you'd have these walkie-talkies that would communicate with each other. Your phone is kind of like that, except instead of communicating with another walkie-talkie, it connects with a series of network cell phone towers, which is how your phone is able to receive and get information, such as phone calls or surf the internet.
And so can you determine that basically a general location of a particular mobile device, cell phone at a particular time?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, I will. So we have a cell site list, which is essentially a fingerprint or a map of where all the cell phone towers are located within a specific area. So I'll look at a call detail record, I'll look at the date and time, and I'll see what tower it used and what side of the cell phone tower was used. And using that, I can come up with a general area of where a phone was, or a vehicle, or a cellular device was at a certain time.
And does that change depending on whether you're in, let's say, the city where there might be a lot of cell phone towers versus, let's say, if you're driving to, I don't know, Las Vegas, where you might go through some areas, or Palm Springs that are desert in nature?
Yes, there's definitely a higher density of cell phone towers in a city like Los Angeles than there is out there.
Okay, let me stop right here, guys, because we're at the 2-hour mark and I didn't want to go over more than that.
Right.
This is the question that we left off, line 10, page 76. So cool. I should probably write that down because I'm gonna like lose the spot if I don't. Marissa, will you write it down for us? I see you getting a pencil. Thank you. That was, it's a lot of tech, man. Apparently the guy talks really fast. I mean, he looks like a guy that would talk really fast with all that training and tech stuff that he does. He just kind of gave that to me too. Very experienced.
I must say, for everybody that took notes and went to the trial and gave us the information, I mean, all this information was like spot on. It's like,
yeah, it was.
Everything they told us is exactly what's in these transcripts.
Yeah, I would say so. Then there were whatever was missed. I mean, we just kind of learned. Like I didn't hear anybody say tarps, so that was interesting. I would say that's the only thing that I can remember. Was there anything else, Joe, that you remember that was maybe missed that we're learning now?
No, the tarps are the only thing. I forgot about that until you said it. Well, yeah, they even bring that up.
The tarps was a good thing.
Yeah, I want to know where they were, and like, did anybody? I'm looking for somebody to explain the blood splatter. Like why the blood in different places, so many different places. Like some of it we understand. Like maybe the trash bags, he could have, if there was her blood's on the trash bags, then he could have had bloody hands when he did. Yeah, we get that. I just I wanted to know more about where blood actually was, because we're still not even exactly sure where the body was dismembered.
And that's where originally the next witness was supposed to be the DNA analysis person, but she was testifying somewhere else. So they brought this detective in place. Like it would have flowed, continue to flow naturally, but she was already in a different courtroom. But I will say too, the other thing I was going to say, when they were doing the fragment comparison, because we could see them when they say the scallops, because there was linear cuts and then scalloped. Those scallops is what I wanted to see, because I was shocked by the fact that LA doesn't have, and I don't have any knowledge of what this entails, but a tool mark analysis team or some kind of thing that never really I'm like, does that not come up in other scenarios that you would need to compare tool marks for other crimes? But to me, when you looked at the scalloped edging from the cutouts and the fragments, that's what I was like, oh, that looks like that could be one of those chainsaws because of the way it was. And I if there's somebody out there that ever used one to cut an item like that, I'd love to see how it lines up, if it matches.
I'm sure that for the trial, they're going to have that type of expert bring them up, because it is true. A scallop is it's like circles, like little bumps, like little humps. So they're going to have to, justify that or explain that, how that type of tool makes those type of cut marks, as opposed to something else that would leave like a serrated saw or something.
Look at what, shout out to Ms. Amber. She says, tool mark analysis person is usually hired as an expert witness, right? So they have one, I guess.
Anyone with specialized knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
But they may have, I imagine they have somewhere to do it somewhere. They just, I think you're asking why don't they have one lab dedicated to this? Is that what, or one team? That LAPD dedicated.
To be yeah, because here's the thing, like these cases, it's not just, there's the city of LA and then there's LA County. But if you still have a crime occur in LA County, it still goes through all of the LA system. So Beverly Hills is its own city, but if a crime occurs there, Beverly Hills is still part of the whole LA criminal system. Like it's all
The
one.
division.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, we're one of the biggest cities, right? There's over 10 million people. Like how do we not have, how has this not come up to have somebody that's an expert in tool mark analysis
Okay,
at any
so
point?
I'm sorry. All these people that are testifying, they're civil servants, right? They work for the public, which
Yes.
we're not paying them to testify, as opposed to an expert, which we will have to pay to come in and testify. I think that was Amber's point. I could be wrong.
Yes. Yes, correct.
So we're not paying anybody here, but in the trial, we will pay those experts to come and give testimony.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
would have to.
That's so interesting. Overall, y'all, like honestly. Okay. Thank you so much, Storm. Hold up. I gotta show you. She wants to show us a picture. Okay, this is gonna be the last item that I show here. Hold up, guys. Give me 1 second, because I need to. Oh, 1 sec. So, a handsaw? Is that what you call this?
Who
Right? This little serrated thing, it's like a handsaw, no?
looks like it? It looks like the blade
that's
one.
a serrated one, yeah.
It's a serrated one. Okay.
Yeah.
She just said that I sent you a picture that would show photos of scallops. Oh, okay. I see. I got you. Okay. So it's like a scallop. I guess this is what it's called, a scallop. Oh yeah, because that's what they called it. That's crazy work, man. All I know is that, oh my God, like the what is interesting to me is the bindles, the pieces, the small fragments from the pool to her body and what they were able to collect. I mean, clearly the lady's an expert and she was trying to piece it all together. So I'm like, wow. I mean, kudos, because that sounds like a very hard job to do. But all right, guys, tomorrow, what is 9:30 Mountain to, that would be what is it? That would
That'd
be
That for me,
8:30
that's
for me.
8:30.
Can you guys do 8:30 tomorrow?
8:30 your time, my time, which time?
My time, you're Eastern.
So you would be
you're Eastern,
11:30.
right? So you'd be 11:30.
Okay, because I was like, wait a minute, what time?
It's like musical chairs. Y'all are
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, is that
Well-
the name? Okay. Mhm.
Guys, thank you so much for helping me. Y'all don't even know, like, it's different when I read something and I read about myself, but like hearing you guys kind of process this, it's been very helpful. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure you guys are supporting the panel members, guys. I'm going to show you, I dropped every link to the channels. I'm also going to link them in the description box, because people are like, I can't find the channel. And I show you guys, and it's in the description box. Y'all don't be looking at it. Okay, well, let me show you.
And I want to say
Go ahead.
thank you for those generous people who send us
Yes.
Cash App
That was really
Thank
cool.
you.
donations.
Thank you,
You're
guys.
you're very generous. We thank you.
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I appreciate
everybody.
it. Yes, that was really cool, because y'all were like, we're reading here. And I mean, it's what is it? A street taco and a Happy Meal. All
My
right.
dog Rocco said he could get 2 Happy Meals now.
You get
Oh,
He's like, he wants 2 now.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna drop you guys because I have to give my shout outs. I'm gonna show everybody your pages. Anything else?
No, that's
no.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
guys.
much.
You guys have a great night. Thank you. Thank
Have a
you.
good
All right,
night,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you, guys. Oh my God, amazing people, folks. Thank you, guys. Let me show you guys their YouTube channels. So this is Marissa. Y'all love the reading. I saw somebody say it's like ASMR. I'm like, yeah, she got a great voice. So let's get Marissa up there, man. She is local. She was actually at the hearing on the 23rd. Well, day 3, day 4, and it sounds like day 5. So we have somebody up here that is going to give us that perspective that I think we all want, right? We were getting it from Becky and Sylvia and Flojo and Steve. Shout out to them. But it's interesting to have her read those transcripts. It's amazing. Okay, so this is her channel. Make sure you guys check her out. I dropped the link already. This is Abe's channel, Sinners in Sinners and Secrets. I like the name of this channel. Shout out to Abe. I dropped his link in the description box. Go check him out. Shout out to Abe. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. And then this is First Liberties Podcast. Shout out to First Liberties as well. Also up here giving us that, defense kind of perspective, other side. Yes, that kind of a blade. That one. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all, I'm tired. All right, guys. Well, check them out, guys. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Thank you for being here. Shout out to BJ as well. Shout out to her, man. We've been working, making sure we get the information. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll finish the third day. Then we'll go to day 4 and we'll go. I'm curious about the text messages. I'm curious about a lot of things. I just don't want to get ahead of myself because I kind of want to see everything, how it played out. So thank you guys. What helps is hit the like button, please. And thank you. I'll see you guys mañana. Bye, guys.